Welcome to this lecture of agricultural instruments. In this lecture, we are going to see about soil moisture measurement. Sensors. In the broadest definition, a sensor is a device, module, machine, or subsystem whose purpose is to detect events or changes in its environment and send the information to other electronics, commonly computer processor. So sensors in agriculture. Sensors used in precision agriculture is to impart data that helps farmers monitor and optimize crops and keep up with changing environmental factor. Soil moisture sensors. Soil moisture sensors measure the volumetric water in soil. Since the direct gravimetric measurements of free soil moisture requires removing, drying and weighing of a sample, soil moisture sensors measures the volumetric water content indirectly by using some other property of the soil such as electrical resistance, dielectric constant, or interaction with neutrons as a proxy for the moisture content. Need for soil moisture measurement. It is always good to know the need for a particular device or an element before we study about it. Measuring soil moisture is important for agriculture applications to help farmers manage their irrigation system more efficiently. Knowing the exact soil moisture condition on their fields prevents irrigation cycle when the soil is already wet. When the soil is dry, the soil moisture sensor gives the information and then then water is poured for the plant. It also prevents overwatering and leaching of fertilizers and other chemicals into the ground. It also prevents from overwatering. For example, in golf course or in slopy conditions where you require only prescribed amount of water. You cannot have excessive water poured into it for the using conditions. In slopy grounds, when in coffee plantations in slopy grounds, when more water is poured in that ground, it takes away the fertilizers, it takes away the minerals from that place. So overwatering can also be prevented by exactly giving the soil moisture content. There are some commonly used methods for measuring the soil moisture indirectly. So technologies commonly used to indirectly measure volumetric water content are frequency domain reflectometry, which is commonly called as FDR. The dielectric constant of a certain volume element around the sensor is obtained by measuring the operating frequency of an oscillating circuit. Time domain transmission or time domain reflectometry TDR. The dielectric constant of a certain volume element around the sensor is obtained by measuring the speed of propagation along the buried transmission line. Neutron moisture gauges. The moderator properties of water for neutron are utilized to estimate soil moisture content between a source and detector probe. So the most commonly used method, soil resistivity. Measuring how strong the soil resists the flow of electricity between two electrodes can be used to determine the soil moisture content. Galvanic cell. The amount of water present can be determined based on the voltage the soil produces because water acts as an electrolyte and produces electricity. The technology behind this concept is called galvanic cell. These are two commonly used moisture sensors. One is capacitive type and the other one is resistive type. Soil moisture sensor. In this lecture, we are going to see in detail about a resistive type soil moisture sensor. Resistive type soil moisture sensor consists of two conducting plates which function as a probe and acting as a variable resistor together. When the sensor is inserted into water, the resistance will decrease and get better conductivity between the plates. As you see in this diagram, this is how the structure of the soil moisture sensor will be. The working principle. Soil moisture sensor has two conducting plates. The first plate is connected to a 5 volt supply through a series resistance of 10 kilo ohm, and a second plate is connected directly to the ground. It simply acts as a voltage divider, and output is taken directly from the first terminal of the sensor pin, which is shown in the figure above. The output will change in range from 0 to 5 volt in proportion with change in the content of water in the soil. Ideally, when there is zero moisture in soil, the sensor acts like an open circuit, that is infinite resistance. For this condition, we get 5 volt at output. This is a block diagram of an automatic irrigation system, a generalized block diagram. It has a battery regulator which powers the supply, which powers the sensor, and the sensor is the soil resistance measuring sensor, and the resistance data is given to the microcontroller, and with the moisture data, the output from the microcontroller controls either a pump or a display unit or a valve. And we are going to see how this can be visualized or realized using an Arduino board. Arduino based irrigation system using soil moisture measurement. So Arduino is a commonly used microcontroller, and in this diagram we see a soil moisture sensor which is kept inside this pot, and the signal from that is taken to the Arduino, the microcontroller, and from the microcontroller is programmed in such a way that for various levels of voltages which it obtains, it decides whether the pump should be turned on or turned off. When the soil is dry, the signal from the soil moisture sensor is taken to the microcontroller. Microcontroller processes it and it gives the signal to the pump, initiating it to turn on. So when the pump is turned on, the water is poured to the plant, and when the soil gets moist, then again the signal is taken and that signal is processed again, and then it turns off the pump. So we can realize this automatic irrigation system using a soil moisture sensor. This is a very simple example which can be tried by everyone at home. And this video shows the realization of it. There is a small water pump which is kept in this bottle, and there is an Arduino board which is given a supply, and whenever there is a soil moisture sensor in this pot, whenever the soil becomes dry, then the pump is activated, and whenever it is moist, then the pump is deactivated. You will see when it is removed, the pump starts pumping water because already the pot is wet. So when it is removed, it shows that the pump is operating. You can very well realize this at home. Thank you.